Welcome to update 3 for Zombelies. It's been a couple of weeks since the last update, and as you can see I've been working on the intro to the game. I've done a fair bit of work on various characters that you can now use to play. I've done a bit of work at the end of the game as well for when you escape in the helicopter, which I may or may not be able to show you in this video depending on how long it takes. But primarily the intro is here now, whereas before it wasn't. It just launched you straight into the game. Currently you've got a minimum of 2 players because I haven't sorted out the artificial intelligence yet. As I said earlier, that will probably be one of the last things that I do. But what you can select is up to 4 players. You can name your characters whatever you want to call them, and obviously this will carry through into the main game. You can also choose what player character you want to use, and there are a number of different characters in the game now. I think there's about 11 at the moment. These are just characters that I have downloaded from free 3D websites, and generally they're ones which people have extracted from commercial games and just uploaded to the website. I've done a bit of work rigging the characters and applying the animations to them, and at the moment I've only got the one animation for the idol, pretty much, apart from one of the other characters. So that's something I'm going to have to work on later, and the whole 3D side of it takes ages, absolutely ages. I've put some information on the screen to do with each character, just to give a bit of a backstory for them, but it doesn't make any difference to the game. Whichever character you choose, you have the same stats, you have the same abilities during the game. Although that may be something I will change later, possibly, so that there are different options or play styles for different characters. So there's Katrina Kill. Then we've got Lexa Boobworthy, and she is from a game called Lollipop Chainsaw Massacre, I think, or something like that. I've never heard of the game, but apparently that's where she's from. Obviously a little bit on the dodgy side. Again, backstory for that one. Then we've got Mark Mintram. Looks like he could give a zombie a good run, but has knackered his knee, so really he's just zombie food. And yes, that is a ginger wispy beard, no matter what you say. Currently his hair is dark. I might add the option later to have the hair colour change randomly, either when you start the game or during the game, just to keep it more realistic. Mike Lamort, again another character from some game or other, but I won't be able to use these characters in the actual game when I finish it. I'm going to have to try and create my own, but that's going to take time. So for the moment I'm using these kind of characters just to act as placeholders and for a bit of fun, really. Bubblegum's your average sort of biker character. Wasn't happy about his partner being killed by a zombie, so he's gone on a murder spree. Psycho Babble is your kind of typical manga character. Again, I think from Chainsaw Bubblegum Massacre, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, and the cheerleader type character. The music in the background is royalty free, downloaded off a website, and it's not great, and it's not going to be the final music. This guy here is a mech pilot from Battlefield 3, and he's got a custom animation that I did for him, so he's not doing a great amount on the screen at the moment, but more importantly, he has got an animation for sitting in the cockpit, and he is actually the pilot that will land the Osprey and take it off again when you finish the game. So that's why he's in there. You've got your extra character here, token torn leg guy. Yeah, and it goes on. Just leave these up long enough for you to have a look at the characters and read the description of them. Before moving on, obviously the names are all completely made up. And some of these models are in games, I think. So not quite sure what kind of games they're from. I'll have to have a look. And we're back to the start. So you can select your character. So I'm going to go for the pilot. And Alison can be Lexa Boobworthy and whoever. Okay, that was strange. I was having some kind of weird slowdown on the video recording there, so I've had to just jump straight into the game. So the characters are different because these are the kind of default characters I'm using while I'm working on this part of the game. Anywho, the game itself is pretty much the same as it was before, except obviously now you've got your different characters that you can use. I've done a bit of work on the cameras as well. Actually, no, I think I did that last time, so that's probably the same as it was last time. The difference is now is that there is an end game, essentially. Although I'm still working on it, so it's not going to be too great, but I will show it to you shortly. Right, so we're going to choose tile. Because I'm developing it, obviously I can just hack it and make the helicopter tile come up whenever I want it. At the moment it's only got one zombie on the tile as well, because I was getting tired of having to clear all 9 zombies just to test the animation for the Osprey coming down. So let's get over there and kill that last zombie, and then we'll show you what happens. That water noise, by the way, is a fountain. I've done a bit of work on that fountain. I don't know if you noticed it last time, but it was pretty much static and doing nothing, whereas now it looks a bit more like a fountain, I guess. I've done some work on lots of little details on some of these tiles, and a fair bit of work on making it so that the tiles aren't always exactly the same. So a straight street scene, for example, may have different vehicles parked on it when it appears in the game and so on, just to add a bit of spice to it. Okay, so we have got the Osprey now landed on the tile, so all the players can now race to get to the extraction zone, which is that red square there. This is obviously different to the original board game, and I think I'll probably be doing a little bit more to make it a bit more different as well to what you get in the board game, because obviously this is a computer game, so I can do more with it. Now we've got the option here. It says it's time to leave the party, so are you going to take off or are you going to wait? Now, when I've finished this, the idea would be that if you click wait, you have the choice. You can either take off and win the game, or you can wait for other players to get to the Osprey and then take off with them. You will still win, but you will get a much higher score for every player that reaches the Osprey before you take off. So there'll be an incentive there. Conversely, there would also be a risk. And what that risk will be, I've yet to decide, but I was thinking along the lines the other day of having it like a first-person shooter at the back of the Osprey. So you're in the Osprey, you're looking out the back ramp, and you've got a machine gun, and you might have zombies attacking you. Like a couple of waves of zombies in your turn. So when it comes to your turn, all the other players are moving to get to the Osprey. It comes to your turn, it switches to the first-person view in the back of the Osprey. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat at the moment. And there'll be like a couple of waves of zombies attacking you. You've got to shoot them, and you've got limited ammunition. And obviously if you run out of ammunition, then the Osprey will get overwhelmed and everybody will lose. So there'll be an incentive to try and wait for people for the score, but conversely the risk will be that no one will win if you get overwhelmed with zombies. So that's one possible way of doing the waiting outcome. I've got a couple of other ideas as well, but I need to have a think about them and decide how it's going to affect the gameplay. Obviously if you click take off, what will then happen is it will cut to a view at the back of the Osprey, which will then take off, and what the Osprey will then do is follow a path around the map, so that you can effectively have a flyover of the different street tiles that you've perhaps been playing on earlier, and so on. Obviously there's only 3 tiles or 4 tiles here, because I'm just demonstrating this game. And obviously I haven't finished working on the camera, because you can't actually control the camera, but what will happen is you'll be able to look out and look at various bits and stuff, and then it will fade to black and come up with your score, etc, etc, whilst having a bit of a flyover of the city. So that's the idea with the end game, and where it's at the moment. The biggest difference is the extra characters that are in the game, and I've spent a lot of time, I haven't had a lot of time to be honest to work on this over the last couple of weeks, but what bit of time I've had, I've been focusing mostly on the 3D characters and trying to get them into the game, and then working on ways of getting them animated. And I could absolutely bore you stiff talking about 3D modelling and animation, etc, etc, and that's not even talking about the programming for the game. There's about 3 or 4 disciplines here which I'm trying to master to get all this done myself, and it's taking time. But other than that, the end game bit I've been working on a little bit. I'm going to add another screen at the end of the game. So where you got the introduction at the start with your menu where you can select your characters, then it will switch into this part, which is the actual game itself, and then once you've finished the game one way or another, it will then cut to another menu, I suppose, essentially, which will give you like the lowdown on who's won, what your score was, who died, when they died, and then give you the option to play again or exit or whatever. So that's something I can work on later. But really the major things I need to do now are finish this particular scene at the end where you fly away as part of the end game, to work on and complete the wait option. So if you decide to wait for the other players to get to the Osprey, then there's got to be some kind of mechanic there to, something to do, and some kind of risk. And then I've got to sort out the artificial intelligence, which is really the main thing, so that you can play against a computer. Once that's done, I've still got to do the special cards, which shouldn't be too difficult really to add into the game, but I just haven't bothered with those yet. I've just got the basics of the game sorted, but we can add the special cards later, and then polish it all up. There's some sound effects, improve the graphics in certain areas, and yeah, so probably another 6 months work, all told. Anyway, see you later.